What's going on, peeps? Man, we're back in the building. You know the vibes, you know the ties already. We're here with another What's Next. And today we're going to be talking about Liverpool right back. Yes, Conor Bradley. Conor Bradley. Now, obviously, as we know, with Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously leaving, there was a bit of a hole there. Do you get what I mean? Like, probably one of the best right backs in history, really and truly, has obviously left the club, but he's now joined Real Madrid. So Liverpool needed to, get in another right back, really more for just the cover in itself. So Liverpool, of course, ended up signing Jeremie Frimpong, but we've still got Conor Bradley at home. Yeah, I mean, we've still got Conor Bradley at home, even though we have signed Jeremie Frimpong. Now, the two players, obviously, they are different in terms of what they bring to a team. You've got someone like Frimpong, who is a speedster. You hasn't really played right back for a very, very long time. I think probably since his days at Celtic. At Bayer Leverkusen, they played three at the back, so he was more playing like a wing back slash winger. To be honest with you, we saw in the season that he got all of those goals, all of those assists the year that Bayern Leverkusen won the Bundesliga title and went undefeated. Frimpong was kind of like a different player, playing in those kind of forward areas, looked comfortable, quick, get in behind, etc., etc. Conor Bradley, on the other hand, is a different kind of fullback. Now, as we know with Bradley, he's got all the heart. We saw Real Madrid, Mbappe tackle, you guys already know. But just in general, he's just a different type of individual. He isn't really someone who is gonna wow you with skills and stuff like that. I don't look at him. Well, I don't look at him anyway as that type of player. But what he will give you is, and I said this before, and I know Zabiri laughed about it, but he'll give you a lot of enthusiasm. That's what he brings out, in my opinion. He brings out so much enthusiasm when he plays. You can see he's hungry, and I'll never fault someone for being hungry. Of course, did you get what I'm trying to say? When you're playing football, especially, you're privileged to be in this kind of position. So yeah, be hungry, be enthusiastic, but also let me see a bit of quality, especially when you're playing for my club as well. So I need to see that, and he has got the quality. He is a decent defender. I think when I look at him, my thing, I guess, with someone like Conor Bradley is just more. I think all fan bases do it, so this isn't even a shot at Liverpool. But it's like you overrate people, especially when they come through like your kind of academy and stuff like that. It's like we just overrate them a bit too much. Do you know what I mean? We make out like they are so much better than they actually are. When the reality is, yeah, maybe not. Maybe they're not as good as we probably think, but they are still good players. And saying that they're not as good as we think doesn't make them bad players. It's just, I guess it's you got to kind of level it out in it, you know what I mean? And you got to find that happy medium. And yeah, that's how I kind of look at someone like Conor Bradley, up and down that kind of right hand channel. We've seen him kind of move inside as well, move infield in terms of his positioning under Arne slot, especially last season. I mean, he was doing a little bit under Klopp as well, but more so under Arne slot. Obviously, he's had his injury problems as well. That's kind of a, would I say, quote unquote cause for concern, if I'm being honest with you. Not major, but it's something that you just look at and think, okay, you've missed quite a bit of football. Haven't really, I mean, you've developed, but you haven't probably been able to develop as much as you probably should have done. There were obviously large parts of last season where Trent was injured and you weren't available. We're playing Jarrell Kwanzaa at right back and stuff like that. That kind of tells you, the kind of predicament that Liverpool were in, but also the unavailability of someone like Conor Bradley. And I think, if that continues, obviously, you're not going to be able to, get your place back into the team. But ultimately, we have got that backup in Jeremie Frimpong. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Played quite a few games last season, 29 altogether with 4 assists. Obviously, I know a lot of those, if not the vast majority of those, were actually coming off the bench for Trent Alexander-Arnold and stuff like that. Obviously, the season before under Jurgen Klopp again. So he upped the games. He did up the games, but I don't know if he upped the minutes or anything like that. I doubt it. But obviously, bursting through under Jurgen Klopp, that was pretty decent. We needed it, of course, at that period of time as well. Debut and even just again his overall performances. I thought, yeah, like he looks calm. He just looks like again, there's no, he hasn't got no USP, and he's young, but at the same time, he hasn't really got that USP about him. Like he's not rapidly quick. He's not excellent at defending. He's not a great passer. You know, he's not good at like dribbling. Like he's decent at all of these things. A bit of a jack of all trades, but still, yeah, I'd say jack of all trades, master of none. But he's decent at all of those kind of attributes, right? In terms of just being a defender first and foremost, right? Before we then look at how he then fits into an Arne slot team and stuff. But yeah, just him in general. Yeah, I wanted to get that across in terms of how I kind of view him as a player in, you know, in this kind of squad. As a backup, I've got no real problems with Conor Bradley. As a starter, I think I would prefer to have Jeremie Frimpong. I mean, you can do the argument. People speak about Frimpong and his defending and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I hear it. And again, I'm someone who looked at that as well in terms of Frimpong and how is he defensively. But if I had to choose who's going to start, I would choose Frimpong every day of the week. To be honest with you, I don't think I would want to realistically change that if I'm being 100% honest with you. Obviously, I saw this. This was for the Milan game, the preseason game that obviously Liverpool had, where they lost 4-2. Quite embarrassing, but you know it is what it is. But one of the most important things that I think that I kind of took away from that was look at the positioning of Conor Bradley in this game, and I think this is going to be one of the determining factors whether or not he's going to have a, you know, a fixture, or if he's going to be a fixture in this side, is the positionings and the positions that he does take up. As I mentioned before about him kind of moving more in field, you can see here with the heat map. I mean, you know, there's times when the guy's in the box, you know, he's in that kind of right attacking midfield position. And then he's obviously out wide as well, doing the kind of wing back, you know, would we say, you know, role, especially with the fact that Liverpool's defense is always quite high up anyway. So, you know, the positions he's going to take up just by default are going to be relatively high. So when I look at someone like Conor Bradley, I do look at him and I think to myself, right, you know what? Obviously, he's someone who can take instructions really, really well. He's someone who does seem to listen to what the coach is asking him to do, and he's able to just execute that. Now, again, like I said, it's going to be no thrills. It's not going to be amazing. It's not going to be, oh my goodness, kind of thing. But when you watch him play, I'm like, this is a calm backup to have, especially to someone like Frimpong, because as we know, Frimpong's USP is his speed, right? We know that he is ridiculously quick. It's going to be very difficult for people to ever try and catch him. So having that as a weapon just in itself is always going to be looked at more favorably, you know, so to speak. And on top of that, we've seen what Frimpong can obviously do when he is further up the field. Now with Bradley, I'm not saying he's, again, it's not even that he's poor or anything like that, but this is going to be a good battle, I think, anyway, between him and Frimpong. And it's an interesting battle because obviously we know with Frimpong, he can actually play further forward. So as we've seen, obviously with Leverkusen. So if Frimpong can do that on that right-hand side, who knows when Salah does obviously go off to AFCON, does Frimpong just potentially move further forward, play in that position? You keep Conor Bradley at right back and then you're good to go. Obviously we'll wait and see come that period of time. There's, I think because of when AFCON actually is now, it's not in January like before. So the run of games that we might have during that kind of period, yeah, you might want to do that. Again, I don't know what Arne Slott's going to do. We don't know. We probably or could potentially have injuries. Things could change, but that is an option for Liverpool. And I just look at it and I think, obviously, again, when Trent was there, he had to battle with Trent. He was never going to win that battle anyway, unless Trent just hit stupidly bad form. But it's difficult because, again, Trent's got that kind of USP. Conor Bradley doesn't at this moment in time. So I think, and listen, it's difficult. It's like a Steve Finnan kind of thing where it's like there's no thrills, but you're just a good defender. You do everything decent. Decent to, well, Finnan I thought was actually pretty good at defending, to be fair, anyway. But you do things decent to good to pretty good. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm looking at someone like Bradley, I think that's the kind of mold of a player I think he needs to kind of, you know, be looking at. Of course, this is modern day football. Fullbacks are asked to do a lot more than they were asked, you know, back in the day and stuff like that, in terms of be someone who's important in both phases of play, both defensively and in the attacking sense. But yeah, I think that that's kind of the mold that I look at him at. And again, there's no problem with that at all. It's just different because now you've got a player like Frimpong now next to you. It just depends on what the manager is obviously asking, you know, asking you to do. But like I said, it should be a good battle. Whether he wins it, I don't know. I'm not confident that he's going to go out there and win it, but it's an opportunity, you know, for someone like Conor Bradley to, you know, to showcase what he's really about, if I'm being totally honest with you. But yeah, he's still got maybe a couple more years until he's really developed into the, you know, it's like it's almost like, as we say in life, you're still trying to find yourself kind of thing. I look at someone like Bradley and I'm like, yeah, you remind me of someone who probably is still trying to find themselves as a player in football in a general sense. So it may still take a little bit of time before we actually see that. So yeah, let's wait and see on that. Let's really, really wait and see when it does come to, Conor Bradley. Like I said, decent player. Don't mind having him in the squad and like none of that kind of stuff. It's not really that deep, but just in terms of him as a player, I'm like, okay, fairs. You know what I mean? You bring me something. You know what I mean? You're a decent defender. You know what I mean? You're I guess average going forward. Defensively, you're decent as well. Definitely. In fact, I'll say you're good. I'll say you're good defensively. So maybe that just might be it. You know, in terms of what Arne Slot wants. And again, who doesn't want a battle in all these kind of positions? You want to have that kind of, okay, well, if Frimpong isn't working today, if they're sitting in a low block and they've got no space in behind, then Frimpong may become a little bit useless. Maybe we can use Bradley in there, just to provide a bit more width, just maybe just something a little bit different. Who knows? Just maybe even just for the energy itself in someone like Conor Bradley. I don't really know, but I would love to know what you guys think as Liverpool fans. Like when it does come to Conor Bradley, how are you viewing him? How are you viewing his battle with Frimpong? Do you think he's going to come out on top come the end of the season? Well, I was looking at something as well just before we head out. I was looking at, when you get, usually when you get to like the last, would we say 10 to 15 games of a season, right? And that's like that kind of February, March kind of period, I would say, right? When you get to like that part of the season, you usually see managers usually stick with the same team. It's usually the same 11, especially like if you're in European competitions as well, but you usually stick with that same 11 because you don't really want to change it too much. You want the team to find their rhythm, and usually the team have now found a rhythm anyway. So these players are always going to play just because they're gelling together at this crucial part of the season, in that kind of final stretch. Will he be able to make the 11 by then? How important is Conor Bradley even going to be, towards the back end of the season? Or is he going to keep picking up these injuries? Is he going to just keep being one of those bit part players? We saw what happened with Nico Williams. Obviously, Trent was there, had to keep it moving to continue his career. And now he's having a brilliant career at Nottingham Forest. We've seen what they can do. Is Conor Bradley going to head down that lane? Or do you think it's just, best Liverpool keep him? Can Liverpool get better? I mean, we could definitely get better, but will they get better is probably the question. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Again, I'm not advocating to sell him or anything like that. Again, it's not that deep. But I'm just looking at Conor Bradley and I'm thinking, what's next for Conor Bradley? Do you know what I mean? What's next for you moving forward? You just battled one guy. Now you got to battle this guy. If you come out on top after this, testament to you. Do you get what I mean? Because yeah, Frimpong ain't old either. Do you know what I mean? It's not like Frimpong's like 29. Like I thought Liverpool were going to go down that route because they had faith in Conor Bradley. I now look at it and think maybe they didn't have complete faith in him. Maybe they don't think he's completely ready. So we need to get someone who they feel is ready right now, and they can just use him for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and then of course take it, from there. But let me know your thoughts, man. I'd love to know what the people think in the comment section, and I'll catch you guys for another What's Next. Who's going to be up next? Let me know who you want me to take a look at in the Liverpool team, and I'll catch you guys soon, man. Peace.